D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I watched the Book of Boba Fett, episode 4 of season 1. If there is going to be a season 2, I have no idea. But I just want to say that I thought this episode was better than last week's, just because last week's was just, I mean, those Vespas are so weird. And they made an appearance in this one. And I have to say, even though the whole mod thing has happened in the past, you know, with Luke and Vader, you know, being, you know, Luke with his hand and everything, I don't like where it's like they're trying to add in elements of what is that called? The Knights of the Republic. No, not the Knights of the Republic, the new one. It doesn't even matter. The one that's got the crappy comic books and everything that takes like 5,000 years before High Republic is what it's called. High Republic. And then the Niall, I think they're called. And they're just like basically the Borg, but like gangsters. But these are just like, it looks like a bunch of like like hipster kids with robotic eyes and stuff. We'll get into it when we get there. This took place in the past, which I liked it because I liked seeing it. But I don't like that Boba Fett's very like kind of a pussy. And I don't like that you know, it took place in the past, but I hope that we are done with flashbacks, because the flashbacks are good. But I've had enough. I also don't like the way that they're portraying like Sand people being all like, you know, like they're Native Americans. They're a story for Native Americans. And I go, okay, but you know, they're not real. They're fake. So why are we portraying them as any type of thing that's in the real world? So, but you know, but at the same time, I'm fine with it. I love Star Wars. I love this universe. I love being in this universe. I love the aliens, the creatures, all that good stuff. The robots, there were robots in this one. Very cool. I do not like the Borg that are in this. I'm fine with mods and everything in, you know, like with the hand and like Vader and everything. But this show is taking it to a level that I personally do not care for. The whole Borg look is not good for this show. So in saying that, we'll get started on this breakdown, but I just want to say before I do that, if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line, and it's super annoying. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. So now that I've got that business out of the way, let's get started on this breakdown. We start off on the BAFTA tank, and real quick, I'll just jump to the end of this. He gets fully healed in this one, which is good, because the whole time he's in there with all these scars and everything, I'm all like, he needs some milk. He don't need no BAFTA tank. He needs some milk. So he gets another flashback. And that's how you know you're going to flashback. You get this green screen around you, and then you're flashback. So he's riding this this BAFTA. Is that what those are called? Yeah, those are called, because he's it doesn't matter, because he's got his gaffy stick and everything. So he's riding along. He sees those bones of another one, and he goes to Jabba's palace, and he sees all these guards all over the place. And he's like, "It's too early. I can't attack them." Whatever he calls this thing. We'll call him Fluffy. Can't attack him, Fluffy. So then he feeds Fluffy some meat that night that he finds and cooks, probably a little Wampa rat or whatever. And then he sees these flares. Now, this is when he finds Finnick. But if you remember in that episode in season 1, when they're attacking her, they shoot up the flares. So it like blinds her, so she can't snipe them off and everything. So I thought this was very good that they did a callback to that. It was very cool. And so he finds her, he comes up on her, and this right here is the thing that we saw at the end of that episode. So he finds her, he turns her over, and he realizes that she's dying from that wound. And he takes her to this mod shop where we got these Vespas and these little pumpkin pie haircutted freaks right here. And they're all looking at him like he's a big weirdo. But look at you. You've got a cell phone on your head. Look at that. It's And then he takes her, and look at this guy with his hey, Goggles. What's up, Goggles? I would totally nickname him Goggles. So he goes in, and this woman's getting, you know, a spinal tap or whatever. I don't know what's going on there. And this guy, he's all like, we don't take walk-ins. It's appointment only. I'm like, what a tattoo shop. And he throws some money on the table and he's like, well, why don't you start with, he's like, it's a matter of life and death. She's going to die if she doesn't get any mods. And then he throws some money down. He's like, why don't you start off with that? And he goes to town on her. He goes to town. Like he like guts her out. Like no joke. I didn't get a snapshot of it. Bummer. But her whole abdomen is friggin' gone. And he's like, oh, you're going to cover her up. And he's all like, and cover up all that beautiful machinery or something like that. And I'm all like, it's gross, but whatever. And there it is right there. And I'm all like, you know, I it doesn't matter. So Fennec Shand, she wakes up and he's all sitting there talking to her and he's all like, basically like, I saved your life. You owe me a life debt kind of thing. But if you help me out with this, help me get my ship back, debt free, you get to go. And he's all like, I think, is it there they're talking about it? I don't know. I'll bring it up later if I remember. Anyways, so they go to Jabba's palace and they're staking it out. And he's like, there's too many gods. And they see the Slave One. And I know it's not, they don't call it Slave One before, but it's Slave One. I'm going to call it Slave One. If you don't like it, tune out now. So then she sends in a little probe. And this reminded me very much of Darth Maul's probe, just smaller. And she sends it in. It does some scans of everything, gets the guards going and everything and up the stairs and everything. And they're talking. He's all like, basically, he's like, I was sick and tired of being ruled by these people who didn't care about our kind. They only cared about what we could give them. And too many of our people got killed over missions that were, you know, stupid. He's like, what if, you know, we decided to just change that up and we ran it ourselves kind of thing. So they get the scans back and they're basically like, they can't fight their way in. So she's like, we are going to sneak in. So they sneak in through these sewers. And I like this. She cuts this thing right here with this little thing. And I liked that a lot because then she uses it later on a robot where she's like she's slitting its throat. And it was very cool. So they go into the kitchens and these two robots are cooking up a frog feast and salad. And they think they hear a rat, so they call the rat droid, which he pops up later. He's like, I do not think it was a rat. And then he takes this one out. But this little guy, this Ginsu robot, who's very cool, but like not at the same time. He's all like, and everything with his thing. And then she comes up and she slices its throat with the little thingies and his head falls off. His head fell off. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of this palace. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our robots' heads are falling off. Okay. Anyways, so what the hell are we doing here, Shand? We got to get out of here. Okay. Anyways, so then the rat robot comes in and they have a little chase sequence. He goes underneath the stove and everything. And he's all like, you're gonna turn on the alarm or some crap like that. I can't remember, but the robot turns himself off, and he's like, sneaky devil, and he puts him away. And they sneak into the bay where his ship, and there's a Slave One, thing of beauty. I love Boba Fett. Slave One is so freaking cool. It's not my favorite ship of all time, but I love it. It's like probably my second favorite. If we're not counting fighters, because I really love some of the fighters that with designs and everything, but like this ship it's not sleek enough for me. Like I'm very like high maintenance. So it needs to be like my ships, I need them to be sleek and everything. This one's more, very like, a working man's ship kind of thing. So they're trying to get it in, but some Gamorrean guards come in and they're fighting them off. Then the other guards come in. They have some shootout and everything. Fennec Shand is holding them off while Boba goes in. And they're fighting and everything. She jumps on the platform or whatnot. She's fighting dudes off and everything. And then he can't they got to get the door open, and he scrapes the walls and he can't move the gun around. She's fighting dude. She does grab this guy and like flips him over. That was pretty cool and everything. And then she shoots this little dumbbell thing, and it opens up the gates and they get out. And then he sits down and he's all like, he's like, your debt is paid. You can go. And she's like, I think I'll stick around. And she's like, what's next, boss, or whatever. He's all like, I have some unfinished business. And so he goes and he finds this biker gang, and they're going through, and he just rips into him. That's how you don't go pew pew. Ugh, that's what a girl does. Girls go pew pew. Yeah, they don't know how to play. They don't know how to play with lasers. It's or anyways, okay. That's how you play. That's how I did when I was a little kid with Star Wars. I have so many action figures from Star Wars. And I have Slave One and some of these speeder bikes. I have some of the, and I have the Millennium Falcon. I have so many Star Wars toys from when I was younger. I would put them up in here, but my office is all Harry Potter. Anyways, so he just ravages them. He shoots a missile and everything. He just destroys them. He looks at it, and then he goes to the Sarlacc Pit, and he's like, "I need to get to my armor." She's all like, "It's got to be gone by now." She's like, "The acid would dissolve," and he's like, "Not Beskar." So they get really close to this because they think it's dead or asleep or whatever they think. And he gets really, he's like, "I cannot see anything." I'm like, yeah, I'm like, even if you had full sunlight, I don't think you could see anything in there. I can't, like, this light, I don't even see people in there. Like, you were in there, but I don't even see. So they see this thing. This thing starts, it's the beak. And it starts to move. And as soon as it moved, I was all like, I'd be out of there right then and there. Because I saw it move and I was like, oh, I'd be up. And then it attacks. And it wraps its tentacles around the ship so he can't get free. And I was like, oh, you done it, Boba. And they're trying to get out, and they shoot a little bit. They get this thing shooting, but it can't get in there. And then Finnick tries to hit this little button, but she can't reach it. So she unbuckles herself and falls down and everything. And she finally hits it, and it lets go one of these little bombs. You remember, it goes zoom, boom, and everything. And it drops in here, and the beak gets it and eats it. And she's like, "Fire in the hole," and it blows up, and it goes boom, boom. It sends this shockwave. This Jabba's sailing barge was so cool. It's a bummer that it's no longer around, kind of thing. So then it lets go and they get out, and then he goes in. Look at that. Look at all the scars. He's all gross. Ew. Doesn't even have any eyebrows. I didn't even notice that. Anyways, so then he goes in there, and she's like, "I'm surprised you survived." So he said he was in there for years, and I'm all like, years? I'm all like, maybe I don't I don't know an overwhelming about the Sarlacc Pit, but I guess it does make sense because C-3PO, what did he say? He's like, "As your body decays over a millennium or a decade," or some crap like that. And I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense now that he's saying that. But it was just, I was all like, years? You were in there for years and you were still alive? What? And so she's like, "You need a BAFTA tank." And so they're sitting here talking, and this is when they're talking about how they need to rule as the daimyo. Daimyo, is that what it's called? Anyways, and she's like, "You're gonna take out a daimyo," and then so he sees himself and he kills Bib Fortuna, and he's ruling on the throne. He brings himself out, and this robot's all like, "You're fully healed, master." Bang, kang kong. And he gets out. Oh, there's his eyebrows. Look at that. Yeah, I like Tamora Morrison. He's very good. I like him a lot. So he gets out and he's all like, "We need to go into town and everything." So they go to what was this called? The Pleasure Palace? Was that what is it called? I can't remember the name of it. And these what's this race? These lizard people called the Thenari. It doesn't matter. The lizard people. Bosk is one of them. Okay. So then we get here, and Sandy is sitting here and he's drinking. He's getting mad. And I was sitting here, and so he attacks these guys. And the whole time I'm all like, while I was watching this, I was like, why is he attacking these guys? And then I started to remember, because I was like, why is, out of all the people in this bar, why in this casino, why is he attacking them? And then I remember that if you remember in Clone, they say it in Clone Wars, they had it in Clone Wars, but so these lizard people, they will kidnap Wookiees, Wookiee children, bring them to their planet, and they will hunt them, because that's like their whole thing. They're hunters. Their species is hunters. So they will have, but if you hunt a Wookiee, that's like huge. But they get Jedi also. They get Jedi and Wookiee. They just get pretty much anybody, and you hunt them, and you get a kill. You're like a man and everything. And so this one hits him over the head with a bottle, and he grabs him, picks him up. And then I don't remember the name of this character, but she comes out and she's like, "All right, you've proved your point. You were a gladiator in the arena, and everyone screamed your name out loud." And she's like, "You were strong and powerful. You have nothing to prove here. So you've racked up quite a debt in my bar. How about this? You let him down, debt free. And everybody can go back to drinking their drinks, and you can, and we'll be fine. No problems. And he's all like, nope. And he rips this dude's arm right off. And it's very reminiscent of, do you remember when C-3PO was like, when no one was, when a droid gets mad, and then Han's all like, yeah, because a droid won't rip your arms off if he loses. And I'm all like, yeah, see, you don't mess. And he's like, Wookiees are known to do that. And I was like, case in point, don't mess with them. They will rip your arm off. And everybody's like, oh, and I was like, yeah, there's no blood though. That's what bothers me about this, because I was recently watching, and side story, I was recently watching Black Panther again, and I noticed there was one part where Killmonger slits the throat of a Dora Milaje, and there's no blood splatter. There's no blood. She just falls over. And I was like, oh, that's so Disney. This is so Disney. Just do it, but don't show any blood. I was like, that's so Disney. It's so funny. So then he's all like, and everything. She's all like, yeah, and everything. So then that's her. And so he pays his debt, and then he leaves. And then he's all like, you tried your best. And she's like, Max, play up a song or whatever. And there's Max Rebo playing. I wonder if Cy Snoodles died, because he obviously didn't die on the sailing barge. He must have got out before when they went. He's like, I'm not gonna go and everything, but you go ahead, Cy. I wonder if Cy survived. I hope she did. I always liked Cy Snoodles in the Max Rebo band. Anyway, so he leaves. Oh shoot, I'm going backwards. Hold on, sorry guys. So then he leaves and he goes and talks to Sandy, and he's like, hey, a long story short, he wants to hire him. So he hires him and everything. So back at the palace, he has a little dinner with the other houses that run Mos Espa. And he's like, as your daimyo. So he basically says in this whole thing, he's like, what I want from you is to help me. The Pikes are coming in and they're going to start a war. And then this guy's like, what stops us from killing you and taking over your leadership kind of thing. And then the Rancor comes up and like, and everything. And they all jump up, and he's all like, he's hungry. And then he feeds it a little bit. And then he's like, listen, he's like, this is what I want from you. Help me defeat the Pikes. And they're like, no. And he's like, listen, if you don't want to help me defeat the Pikes, fine. But promise me when they come, you won't join them. You'll stay on my side and either stay out of it or help me. So they all agree, which I go, you can't trust these punks. These guys are criminals. Criminals are not to be trusted. I wouldn't trust them, but I think he doesn't trust them because he gives Finnick a look, which I did not capture the look. He gives her a look like, hey, we're going to have to watch these guys, because even though they said they wouldn't join them, we can't trust them. And they leave, and so they're standing up on the thing, and they're like, how much treasure do we have in the thing? And he's like, we have plenty of money. And I'm all like, do you though? Because I mean, like, you only got like 4 tributes. I'm like, is that enough? She's like, we need men and everything. He's like, shall we can buy him? And he's like, can we buy? And she's like, we can buy guys if you know where to look for them. And she obviously does. And so, and then it does this pan out of the thing, and that's the end of the episode. So in terms of this episode, like I said before, it was better than last week's, because last week's was so obnoxious, and I didn't feel like it was Star Wars. Like, this was even though this one, like, even though I just, this one was a lot better. It was a lot better. It was a step in the right directions. And I hope that the flashbacks are done. I liked these flashbacks. Don't get me wrong. It was very good. I did enjoy it, but no more I mean, like, if you have flashbacks, explain, when he's having the flashback of him as a little kid, and he keeps having where he's on Camino and his dad leaves and he puts his hand up against the window and everything, and then shows his little baby face. That one, I go, okay, what's going on there? Because that memory still keeps popping up. It didn't pop up here, but I'm very curious if that memory pops up and that flashback pops up. Okay, that's fine. But all of this stuff, we're all caught up on flashbacks. We're now where we were at the when he showed up in The Mandalorian. So we're all caught up there. So no more of that. And if they do have more, I mean, I obviously will have to deal. But I just go, let's move forward with the story, because any more back regression I don't think will help out at all. Plus, I want to see the war with the Pikes. Pikes are going down. But yeah, but I did enjoy this episode compared to last week's. We're now halfway through the season. I think we only have 3 more episodes left, so they need to pick it up as far as getting on the ball of really showing what's going down and actiony stuff. And I mean, like, maybe they saved it, their budget kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? What was your favorite part about this episode? I have to say, between the Sarlacc Pit and him mowing down those speeder bikes, those are my 2. But if I have to pick right now, I would say probably mowing down the speeder bikes, because when he did it, I was like, yeah, F you, dudes. You guys are stupid. You guys mess with the wrong punk, man. But I did like that Sarlacc Pet scene. Anyways, all right. Tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys next week on my breakdown and review of the Book of Boba Fett. And you guys have a good week. May the Force be with you. Bye.